Hi, welcome back to this Monday edition, second hour of this Monday edition on Focal Point, AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. You are aboard the USS Focal Point. It is our patrol boat. This is not a pleasure cruise, where we relentlessly patrol the choppy waters of America's public life, looking for the intersection of the coordinates where truth intersects with politics, where truth intersects with our shared common public life. The scriptures serve as our nautical charts, the Holy Spirit as our navigator. Our commander is on the bridge, and I am your loyal, humble, and cheerful first mate. By the way, Egypt has banned the Muslim Brotherhood. That tells you something about the Muslim Brotherhood. It is so bad that even a Muslim country wants to ban them. At the same time, we've got a president that's doing everything in his power to help the Muslim Brotherhood. President Obama trying to help the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, helping the Muslim Brotherhood in Libya, helping the Muslim Brotherhood in Syria. What President Obama is about, if you want to know what he's about helping the Muslim Brotherhood. That is his agenda. That is his foreign policy. That's it. You can sum it up in one word. Will this help the Muslim Brotherhood? Yeah, that's his foreign policy in a nutshell. But Egypt, they had to deal with the Muslim Brotherhood now for decades. They weren't even legal until about a decade ago. Now they've banned them again. Realize what would happen if we banned them in America, which we should do. That means there goes CARE, the Council for American Islamic Relations. They've renamed themselves, by the way. They've renamed themselves the Washington Trust Foundation. So they know that CARE, Council for American Islamic Relations, they know that that name has now been so tainted. People understand how radical they are, unindicted co-conspirator in the major Islamic fundraising scandal in our lifetimes. So they've changed the name of their foundation. They've got caught now, apparently exposed with some illegal money laundering activities, taking overseas money and laundering it through their charitable foundation. So they've changed the name. So CARE would go. The Muslim Student Associations would go. There are 29 organizations in North America that are offshoots of the Muslim Brotherhood. All of those would go if we outlawed the Muslim Brotherhood in America, which is what they are doing in Egypt, and rightly so. Now, Nancy Pelosi, clip 3, Rob, let's go there. Oh, by the way, quickly before we do that, Lois Lerner, she was the head of the tax-exempt division in the IRS. She was the one that was responsible for harassing the Tea Party. She actually took those cases away from the Cincinnati field office. And remember, they tried to blame the Cincinnati field office, a bunch of rogue agents in Cincinnati going after the Tea Party. No, it was Lois Lerner. I want those here. Send them to me. I'm going to take care of these. She was the one that said the Tea Party is very dangerous. Those were her words. She was the one that was responsible to see that the Tea Party was still monitored and harassed after they had been given their tax-exempt status. She has now retired, so she is gone. Now, Nancy Pelosi talking about President Obama. And again, President Obama said, look, they're messing with me. That's the problem. They're just trying to mess with me. It's not about politics. It's personal, and it probably has to do with my race. Here's Nancy Pelosi talking to Mike Allen of Politico. Let's listen.
Never seen anything like it. I haven't seen anything like it. I guess the closest I've seen since my service in Congress was in a very irresponsible way when the House impeached President Clinton, because he was an effective president. This is an effective president. And not only that, he has the power of being a largely nonpartisan president. If the Democrats had any complaint about the president, it's that he's not complaining about the do-nothing Republican president, do-nothing Republican Congress. You know that. That's one of the major complaints. But that's not who he is. He's more, that's not what he brought to the White House.
It seems to be personal. Why is that?
You know why it is. You know why it is. He's brilliant. He has a vision for our country. He's brilliant, has knowledge of the issues and judgment about what the right path would be, respectful of other people's views. He thinks in a strategic way on how to get something done and sustain an initiative by having as much support for it as possible. And he's completely eloquent to convey a message to the American people. That's a package that they don't like.
So he's just too brilliant for the Republicans. He is respectful of other people's views. When have you ever seen that? I mean, I ask you. President Obama is the one that's out there saying, I will not negotiate on the debt ceiling. I will not negotiate on the continuing resolution. I have no respect for other people's views. I will not entertain any other views. I will not dialogue about other people's views. I will not debate them. I will not discuss them with them. I will not negotiate. Now, Ted Cruz has been leading the effort in the Senate, and what Ted Cruz wants to do is filibuster the House bill, because he knows if the House bill that was voted on Thursday, if it gets to the Senate floor, the Democrats are in the majority, and they will vote to fund Obamacare. So Ted Cruz wants to stop the funding of Obamacare. The only way to do that on the Senate side is to filibuster this bill to keep it from even getting to the Senate floor. So Ted Cruz wants to filibuster this thing. And Chris Wallace, clip 5, Fox News, said, look, when I invited Ted Cruz, a Republican, to come on my program, here's what happened.
Carl, this has been one of the strangest weeks I've ever had in Washington, and I say that because as soon as we listed Ted Cruz as our featured guest this week, I got unsolicited research and questions, not from Democrats, but from top Republicans who to hammer Cruz. Why are Republicans so angry at Ted Cruz?
So what Chris Wallace is talking about here is something that we have talked about before. There are really two political parties in America. There are ruling class Republicans and there are citizen class Republicans. You and I, we are citizen class Republicans. If we're Republicans, it could be independents, but we are citizen class voters. And you have the ruling class Republicans, the Karl Roves and their ilk, and they're the ones that are trying to rat out Ted Cruz. Now, very quickly, let's play clip 6. Chris Wallace talking to Ted Cruz.
Sir, if I may, you say that this is brute political power. Other times you've said it's a procedural gimmick. It's Senate Rule 22, which has been around for years. It's part of the Senate rules, and it says after you allow debate, after you take cloture, that you can pass an amendment by a simple majority. That's the rule.
Chris, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You're right, that is one rule, but there is another rule that says it takes 60 votes to get cloture. And that's the reason the Senate generally, on controversial votes, we work out an agreement for it to be subject to a 60-vote threshold, because the minority, if the majority is going to run the minority over with a train, the minority has the ability to stop them. And so if Harry Reid says, you know what, I'm going to run the Republicans over, I'm going to ignore the bill passed by the House of Representatives, I'm going to ignore the will of the people, and I'm going to do this on a 51-vote threshold, then from my mind, it should be an easy decision for Senate Republicans to stand united and to support House Republicans. And I'll tell you, any vote for cloture, any vote to allow Harry Reid to add funding for Obamacare with just a 51-vote threshold, a vote for cloture is a vote for Obamacare. And I think Senate Republicans are going to stand side by side with Speaker Boehner and House Republicans, listening to the people and stopping this train wreck that is Obamacare.
Okay.
So Ted Cruz correctly pointing out that a vote for cloture, a vote to end the filibuster, is a vote for Obamacare. Because if the filibuster is ended and this bill goes to the Senate floor, Obamacare will be funded by the Senate. You'll have another showdown with the House. So that's the thing to remember when you're communicating with your senators. A vote for cloture is a vote for Obamacare. We get to the bottom of the hour, I'll tell you the 10 senators we got to worry about. Back in 2.